down with OTC? Down with OTC. OTC. Are you down with OTC? Are you down with OTC? OTC. Are you down with OTC? Down with OTC. Down with OTC.
Welcome to OTC Live. Welcome everybody to OTC Live on the Chain Live. I am Chip. Jeff, you're probably wondering, well, where's Jeff? Where is he? Where could he possibly be? Well, he is actually on his way, helicopter en route, coming to the studio, and he'll be joining us shortly. And I just wanted to give a big shout out to everybody. Just throw in the comments where you're from. We get people from all over the world. I'm always amazed where you're from, and you know it's always great to see everybody. Hello, everybody. Tina Hall. Look at Annalisa's in here tonight, and James XRP Rule. Some phenomenal OGs in the space. It's good to see you guys in here tonight. And we're gonna, man, there's so much we have to go through. We got a lot of stuff to go through. Some of which, you know, we're gonna talk a little bit about Flare. Is Flare a security? Is that a danger? Is that some new thing we have to worry about? Also want to take a look at a couple of other things. You know, for example, we've been talking a lot about Tether. Tether's got some weird stuff going on. Tether is investing its clients' money in something. We're going to get into that a little bit later in the show as well. And then I want to talk about, get into some other news too. By the way, the big guy, the chief enforcer, you know, the big crusher in the SEC. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about him as well. Why don't we get this puppy started? Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain with Jeff and Chip.
And here we go. So I always like to say, where are you from? Let's shout you out a little bit. You got any questions, throw them in the chat. Chances are we will see them. Chances are I might see them. But if you don't get on there, sometimes we don't always see them. Look at this. A good morning shout out from Zubera. Thank you. Good morning, good evening, and good night. If it's your first time, Holly Molly was the first one in here today. We always like to shout out the very first person that jumps in the stream. And we got Apex Crypto. What up, fam? Connie Stewart reminding everybody to hit that subscribe button and the notification. Because if you don't click that little bell, chances are you might not know about it. And even if you do, you might not know about it. So I want you to go ahead and do that. And we also have another channel. It's down in the description. You can always go down there and check that out as well. And let's see, where are you guys from? Kansas. Kansas. Where else are you guys from? Throw it in the chat. Let me see where everybody's coming in here from tonight. Annalise, where are you currently? I don't even know where you might be. We got LA, Los Angeles on lockdown in the house. Very good to see that. And who else we got? We got Kansas in the house, of course, Louisiana. Very cool. Chip. Yeah, that's me. That's my name. Don't wear it out. I used to say that when I was a kid. And what I always like to say is that New Jersey. All right, New Jersey. We got another Kansas. Whoa, Atomic Snowflow is in there. NYC, Brooklyn, sometimes referred to as Crooklyn. XRP Tacos wants to know one thing. When moon? Hey, we're all with you on the whole when moon thing, for sure. And hometown Australia. Well, I know you. Yeah, okay. Hometown of Australia. Let me see. By the way, I had a conference call with Australia today, which was awesome because it's so weird talking to people the next morning. We got Mexico in the house, Australia, a lot of Aussie fans here. Simon Collinson says hello from Thailand. Hello. I know he's been a regular in here for a long time. I want to jump through some news, and then at some point, Jeff will become, like I said, he's en route via helicopter, be taking him, he'll be hitting the studio, and then we'll jump into it. I like this, solidarity. Man, we need solidarity in this world, that's for sure. Oh yeah, UK, Cornwall specifically, Oman, beautiful. And what else? Yeah, it's very cool. I always see a lot of people. Yeah, every once in a while we get some people from South America as well, which is always good. Oh, Portugal in the house, Western Pennsylvania, am I like Pittsburgh area, somewhere around there? In Florida, that's my home state, Alonzo, very cool. Good to see everybody in here. I wanted to, why don't we do this? Why don't we jump in the shallow end head first for some maximum impact? I want to go through a couple of news stories here. First off, Flare is one of the most exciting projects that's really hit in recent times. I mean, it's very infrequently that something out of nowhere comes. I remember when Flare was first announced, Jeff and I talked a little bit about it. I had this inkling that it could potentially be something. And then when you see someone like a CEO who's a visionary like Hugo Filion, he's just a brilliant guy. Dev has a beautiful background. And he was actually on Real Vision. They did with Santiago Velez. He did a really nice interview today. And no, we're not going to watch the interview, but we're going to take some excerpts from it because I want to jump into some of the key things that he said. And, there's Flare Finance too. So Flare Finance is doing some really exciting things as well. We had El Salvador in the house. Nice. I like to see a little bit of that. Bangladesh, Oklahoma, OKC, beautiful. And let's jump in right now. I want to go through this little tweet stream that kind of came out. This one here was Flare Finance, and they're yelling, it's official. Flare Finance crossed 75,000 blocks on the Costin test network. Costin is the name that they've given for their actual test network. You're like, what's Costin? That's actually just their testing, like their sandbox. In just a few short days, beginning with the beta program. So this is pretty exciting stuff right here. They said the beta testers are hard at work testing the first 3 out of 6 products in their ecosystem. So you've got Flare X, Flare Farm, and Flare Wrap. Bugs are present, of course, that's always expected. And they're starting up this beta competition. Beta testers will soon begin the challenge of acquiring the most in a testnet environment. Winners of the competition will win one of 110 NFTs, non-fungible tokens. These are unique little things, mostly referred to as, mostly as art, some kind of art. You see that a lot, unique artwork and stuff like that. So let's jump back over here. And then finally, so they want to know if you want to be a Flare beta tester, drop a comment in there. And then jumping up with some other news here. this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier. So if you guys don't know about Real Vision, it's really a phenomenal YouTube channel. They've really blown up. I really, really, would suggest you sign up there. Now, you may not like any story, but one of the key shifts, Real Vision used to be a very heavily induced, it was a finance channel, right? Mostly for finance, talking about stocks, FX trade, all this kind of stuff. And then kind of slowly, they've sort of evolved into getting more into cryptocurrencies. And I think it's a great thing because I think they're doing it right. And I think they're bringing some really quality interviews to the space, such as having Hugo on and jumping into it, because you got to remember there's a lot of people that follow them. I think they have a million plus subscribers. I don't know exactly what it is. You guys know, just go ahead and drop it off. Brisbane in the house from Australia, way up in Maine. That's also very cool. And one of the things that they get into a lot is the finance side. But now that they're venturing more into crypto, they're kind of turning on this whole new crowd, right? So you have a lot of people, are traditional stock people, traditional finance, and all of a sudden when they start introducing it, we're always talking so much like when is there going to be mass adoption? Well, I don't think it's not like a switch. You don't like flip the button. It's like, Jeff, are you in the back there? Flip the switch, and then Jeff flips the switch and we got mass adoption. Kind of doesn't work that way, although that would be awesome. What we do is, start seeing stuff trickle. So this is really phenomenal to get a project like Flare out there to the masses, which I really like to see. Now, as I was saying, this is the actual art interview right here in Real Vision. It's just simply Real Vision. I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll throw the link in there. But go to Real Vision. You can check out some of their crypto videos. And like I said, one of the cool things, very quality. Now you have to register on the site, but it's just a matter of like putting your email in, your name, and it's not like this big thing where you have to give blood, like your blood type and stuff like that. And it's totally free. But again, they're putting out some quality stuff, and the crypto part of it right now is free. Now you can get subscriptions on their other side, and there's a cost to it, but they have free trials. They usually have some deals. You can watch it for a while, which is pretty good. So they did this really awesome interview today with Hugo, which Jeff and I are big fans because we just feel like every once in a while you see the cream rises to the top. You see some people that really get it, they really are doing some incredible things in the space. And I happen to think that Flare, what they're doing around, what they're building right now is it's going to explode. And we'll have to see how that goes. But that's my thought. So one of the things, they get into a bunch of stuff. You got to remember the audience it's for. But I wanted to pull something out. Actually, I could probably play. Let's see if I'd probably just let me go ahead and stop my screen here. Let me see if I can play this one little bit here, because I think it's a pretty decent one. Let me see if I can find it in here. But that one, man, it doesn't tell me which one it is. Real Vision. Where's the Real Vision? Yeah. See, the problem with doing this is a lot of tabs. I got to select the right tab to be able to play it. I'm not going to do that right now. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and share my screen. I'll show you what I'm looking at right here. So you can kind of see this. So this is the interview right here at Real Vision. And again, they do a lot of cool other stuff that you can check out and watch. So the other thing that they do is they also have the transcripts. Now, some people like to listen to stuff. They don't need to look at it. Some people like watching. They like the auditory visioning. They like to see and hear. Some other people like to just read. So they have transcripts available. And one of the things I did was I went in here. I wanted to drill down on this. Santiago Velez says, hey, you did happen to mention you'll be bringing another digital asset in the near future. Would you like to let us know about that? He says, yeah, absolutely. Flare's creating the network. Then once it creates the network, that network has a foundation. After that point, let me just see if I can make it a little bigger in here. He says, at that point, there's a governance process for everything. Flare will not be just continually adding new things without governance from a network. Because specifically, we cannot. That is the way it works. It has to be a decentralized network. It has to have governance. And also, it cannot, as a foundation, even as a sponsor, potentially related commercial entity. We cannot undertake to do anything to the network. So he's really stressing the fact that it's completely decentralized here. And they can't, because of the way they're setting up. He says, because if you have seen as many different cold cases, we make no undertaking that we have responsible towards building. And then he says, this is not a security. You're not buying an equity. We're not going to be providing the value to that. We are setting up a network. It's going to run like automation, and hopefully it provides utility. It builds an ecosystem around it. We're not there to every day, just like a pump news, create new products. That's not going to happen. We will, of course, be participating. We will, of course, have a very defined role in the network, but that's that. So one of the things that I like about that, and when he talks about this, what he's actually trying to do and what trying to set up, you can see he's not going to be a pumper. He's not going to go for try to capture news. He's setting up something that has a real utility, that has interoperability with Ether and smart contracts. And a lot of the stuff they're going to be building, the infrastructure they're laying right now, is going to be pretty big for the long run. We're going to start seeing a lot of this start bubbling up. And everyone's like, okay, great, Chip, where's my Spark token, man? And that happened last month. It's been a month now. I think it happened on December 12th. It's been a month. Where is it? Look, anytime you're building something on the magnitude that Hugo Philion and his team are building, it's going to take some time. I know you can be a little bit you're super excited to get there. I know there's some IOUs trading out there. Yes, understood. But if you're going to build it, you got to put it together right. And the way you hear Hugo speak, there's no fluff about the guy, man. He's a visionary. He sticks to the core concept. They're building something that I believe is going to be revolutionary. And that's what I like about what he's up to and what he's actually, going out there and building. Now on to some other news. I wanted to jump into this because, a lot of people are still wondering, what's going on with the SEC case? Everyone's saying well, what's going on with the SEC case? There must be something going on with the SEC case. Every day, someone's going on with the SEC case. But something funny happened yesterday. Somehow, some rumor started on the internet, and everyone's on the internet, anything could be possible. I see Abe Lincoln quoting stuff about, digital assets almost all the time. So when you start seeing this kind of stuff, you're like, wait a minute, this isn't really happening. So what I wanted to get to here, and on my screen trying to find it here, but I wanted to sort of put something to rest because, again, I've seen all kinds of weird stuff going around the internet. People are like, the SEC case has been dismissed. Well, not so quickly. So I don't know what I think what some people may have seen is that they may have seen that somebody was looking at the SEC site in a spot where they would normally see SEC v Ripple, and they noticed, oh my gosh, it disappeared off the site. Now, I don't know if it disappeared or not, but what I do know is that it hasn't gone away. A simple check of the docket really, that's all I had to really do. So the SEC v Ripple is in full effect. As a matter of fact, the orders granting motions for the attorneys to appear pro hoc vice, what that means is if they're not necessarily, it gives them permission if they're not basically registered there. That pro hoc vice allows them, so you have to basically file, get permission, and that's granted via an order. And of course, we're familiar with the name Judge Annalisa Torres, and she's the one granting it. Now that could change, that's not, but as of right now, that's what it is. This is actually what the docket looks like. I threw up a little screenshot of that. By the way, I get alerts on this thing, so anytime something new hits, on the chain live, we'll be talking about it right here. But you can see it's just simply, different attorneys to appear. Gregory Rappaway, and this is some of the stuff that was filed the other day, and you just see this coming to fruition. So it's not like everyone's like, well, it looks like maybe it's over, maybe we're dismissed, maybe we're clear. Not so quickly. That did not happen, although it would be awesome if we just automatically heard about that. So what about this SEC v Ripple? Well, check this out. 21 lawyers gearing up to battle, do some fisticuffs, get and throw down with the SEC. Now, everything's going to be very cordial and everything, but, Ripple has lawyered up. You have on the docket, you have attorneys who are representing Brad Garlinghouse because he's named separately. You have a couple of attorneys who are representing Chris Larson because he was also named individually. And then you have a whole slew of attorneys that are representing Ripple. So this is a little small article to kind of go through. It says 21 lawyers gearing up to fight the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. 4 lawyers are representing Brad, the company's chief executive. 4 are representing Chris Larson. and 13 are the companies. So you can see they're pretty lawyered up here. And we've got, on Tuesday, the commission announced Mark Berger, the acting director of the SEC's Division of Enforcement, will depart that month. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, I don't know who the heck that is. Is that somebody we should know? Well, let's take a look. This right here, the enforcer, the big tough guy, you know, and he was basically the one behind the 1.3 billion lawsuit, you know, that's against Ripple right now. And you know, he's going on to say, there he is. He's a tough guy, man, you know. But he was the acting director of the Division of Enforcement. This is the litigation arm, the people that go after people. He played a major role in the SEC. And he also played a major role in the SEC enforcement against Ripple. And guess what? He is also leaving. Goodbye. We'll see you later. You know, it's kind of weird. It's like I'm thinking to myself as time goes on, you know, more and more. Is there like anybody going to be left there? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody going to be left there that's going to be able to fight this thing? It's like, let's see. Jay, as some people are saying, the lizard, Clayton, he left, right? On top of that, you had the chief economist left. You had 6 directors leave, and now you got the enforcer, the big enforcer. So largely, a lot of the folks that were involved in this. Now, there's still going to be a lot of attorneys who are probably involved with drafting most of this and putting this together. It didn't happen over a month. Didn't happen over 2 months. We know that because of the tolling agreements, this went back to April of 2019, and that's basically when they suspend any time frame that they can actually go back, right? And it said it was short. It bears at least one major highlight: the SEC's 1.3 billion lawsuit. So that's what he's hanging on his notch in his belt. He's over there. He's got the wood. He's like, you know, notching it. It's like, yep, that's my notch right there. It all had to do with that. That's what I'm all about, notching that puppy up. Somebody else put a good comment in here. XRP Hollywood, yeah, said Hester Peirce made a statement yesterday, which is good for XRP. She said every transaction on a DLT can't be seen as a security. She's looking for a solution for XRP to work in compliance. Now, that was another interview that was released, a very good one as well. And, you know, I thought she handled some of the questions very, how do I say this, very politically. She, you know, I mean, she's in a tough place because she's getting hammered on some of this stuff. I want to see if I can pull one of these puppies up. I think I have a little piece, not about the XRP thing, but I want to see if I can pull this up in here while we're looking. Again, I got to share the right tab here. Which one is this one? I believe it's this one. So guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the screen. I'm going to start playing it, but you have to let me know if there's audio, because let's go like this. Yeah, because there might not be some audio in here. I want to just play a little bit of this. Let me know if you guys hear audio. You guys hearing audio? Give me a little bit of feedback. A little feedback in there. And boy, is this thing just it's a little bit late. Did you guys hear audio? Hello. See, this is where I'm like, Jeff, did you hear audio? Jeff's not here. No audio. No audio playing. Okay, well, I'll tell you what I'll have to do. Let me try this one more time. And I'm going to go ahead and try to do this one more time. What do we have here? This is the SEC tab. I want to try it this time. Bam, I think this is going to work. Okay, let's go ahead and give this a shot.
Commissioner of the SEC, this is the gold standard.
Okay, how about now? We hear an audio there? Did you guys hear a little bit of blip of audio there?
But as you take a look outside of the U.S., you know, and observe other regulatory peers, how would you rate and compare the U.S. against regulatory guidelines that are being set around the world?
Well, again, I think the SEC hasn't done a.
Now you look at the interviewer's face. She already knows she's spinning, right? She's spinning hard. Hester Peirce has got this question dumped on her, like, "Hey, by the way, the gold standard is the SEC, and exactly what are you doing?" You can see the interviewer. Now I'm not making fun of her, but you can just see she's having none of it. She's like, okay. Yeah, she can already start to see that she's going on in a spin right here, right? A little bit of spin going on. So let's hear the rest of this puppy. Actually, let's do it a little bit larger, like that. There we go. Let's listen in.
Fantastic job in getting out in front and setting clear lines for crypto. And other countries have been much faster to do that. I think one advantage for the United States is that it's a place where a lot of people want to do their development work, and they.
So the question is, you see how she dodges it right away? She's like looking for the word, and I don't blame her. These things are tough. If you've ever, in a previous role, I had to do a lot of interviews, and you're representing a company, and you would say, okay, that's on the record, that's off the record. I was sort of recording all of them because your quotes were always taken out of context. You do a radio interview, you do another interview, and what do they pick out? The worst bits of all of it. Now, when you're sitting on this live stream and you're getting hammered, she automatically goes to, well, the U.S., the U.S. is a fantastic place to be. Everybody wants to work here. And she's right. But the problem is you were sitting there, if you're, let's say if you're like a Ripple and you're saying, guys, hey, we're doing this. Hey, SEC, we're going to move this over here. Hey, by the way, we're going to try it over here. We're going to do this. Okay. Hey, by the way, you guys are running a validator node, right? Hey, okay, cool. And by the way, cryptos, banks can custody crypto, right? And we have a digital asset that we work with, called XRP, right? So all of this kind of conjecture, and she goes right into the whole idea of, well, it's U.S. Fantastic place to work. It's a great place to work, and everybody should want to come here.
They certainly want to interact with Americans, and they want Americans to be part of their network. But as the lack of regulatory clarity persists, then people say, you know what, it isn't worth that much, and especially if they think, in a few years I might face an enforcement action. I think
in a few years I might face an enforcement action. Right. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of this whole interview, right?
The Telegram enforcement action was really quite telling for some, because even though a lot of the activity was outside the United States, its interaction with the United States ended up ultimately bringing that project to an end. And so I don't think that we've done a great job so far. Now, as I said, some other regulators.
And you know what? She would be right. They haven't done a great job. They haven't even done they've done a horrible job, right? That a company like Ripple, businesses would be, their whole business and then the whole community investing in the decentralized asset of XRP is totally, just absolutely, just crushed. But you know what? We haven't done that great of a job. It turns out the 10 years went by. It's funny because 11 years ago, Bitcoin, it turns out we haven't done a great job, and so what are you going to do? I mean, hey, it's just the way things work sometimes, right, Hester?
Regulators are quite forward-thinking in the United States, and so it's not one story. And I don't think that it's all a negative story at the SEC either. I'm hard on my own agency because I want us to do better. But we have people at the agency who care a lot about this space. We just made the head of our office that deals with crypto is now officially a self-standing office and has a more prominent.
Look, I'll be honest with you. I feel bad for her. It's horrible being put in that position. You're like sweating, and even if it doesn't show, you're like freaking out. You're like, what? You start just talking and spinning stuff that U.S. is a great place to be, and everyone wants to be here. Yeah, but they don't know what to do. Yes. We've done a horrible job. Yes. Ding, ding, ding. So you see a lot of yeses going on there. And the whole thing is we could sit here and criticize Hester Peirce, but let's face it, she's been proactive and being very pro-crypto. It puts her in a very challenging position because here she is pouring her heart out. Look, we put somebody in the SEC. We just have somebody in the role. And meanwhile, how do you think she feels about this? How do you think there's got to be some kind of an internal fight going on in the SEC? You got pro-crypto over here, and you got the enforcers over here. They like to go and enforce everything. And you got, Hester Peirce over here. So you got to imagine that some of that stuff is going to go down. By the way, James Rule XRP, I always want to say XRP rules. Hey, man, doing a great job in there today. That's all I want to say. I see what's going on. Everyone's free to tell their opinions. Just be polite. Do not troll. Yeah, be polite. Look, treat people the way you want to be treated. It's an old adage. If you punch someone in the throat, don't expect them to smile and say, have a good day, right? So it's kind of some of the stuff that we do, and just in our normal course of, walking around. But, look, I mean, we've all enjoyed sometimes being fun with the whole trolling, and I've certainly done enough of that myself. But I wanted to get into something else. Now, we talked a little bit about Tether, right? So the court date came up it's not really the official court date. It's, I guess, some planning, whatever. But I kind of saw this story here. It kind of took me back a little bit because I wasn't expecting this one, or at least I had never heard about it. Now, it doesn't mean that it didn't exist. It doesn't mean it's something that's new. It just means that I didn't hear about it. Maybe you guys have. So I want to get your take on this here because, Tether, the whole idea about Tether is it's supposed to be backed 1-to-1, parity with the $1. So for every Tether, there's supposed to be a USD behind it, right? And then months into their operation, they're like, well, it's USD, yeah, but it's other assets as well. And that's kind of threw a giant red flag up. And of course, you see the SEC sort of getting a little bit involved here. And this is what I saw right here. So Tether's bank says that it invests customer funds in Bitcoin. Deltec Bank and Trust announced that it invested customers' fund in Bitcoin since the cryptocurrency's price was around $9,300. So Deltec, the announcement was made by Deltec Bank. Obviously, their investment officer, Hugo Rogers, during a year-in review video, it raises new questions about whether the dollar-pegged USDT stablecoin, which in theory was backed by cash and so-called cash equivalents, as well as other assets and receivables made by loans, it's actually backed in a way by Bitcoin, right? So this is going to add some more complication, I think, or it could potentially add a little bit of complication as we look into this. Like, well, first they started off as a parity with the USD, then it kind of brought other assets in. Now we find out in a year in review that they've been this whole entire time investing since the price of Bitcoin was $9,300. And if you see that, it's like customers, right? So we bought Bitcoin for our clients around 9,300 USD. That worked very well through 2020. We expect it to continue working well in 2021 as the printing presses continue to run hot. So, yeah, I mean, through a spokesperson, Tether General Counsel, Stuart Hoegner confirmed that Deltec is a stablecoins issuer's bank. Deltec made headlines in 2018 after Tether published a letter from the bank announcing it had held a little over 1.8 billion, which roughly lined up with the amount at the time, right? So there's a lot of things that kind of came out of this and circulating around. And it's going to be interesting, this whole case of Tether. But again, there's very different terms. And you look back at, like, let's say Kick, with the Kin token, and you look at there's a lot of things that you necessarily cannot compare them and know, okay, this is a stable coin. But we look at some of the legislations, because a lot of people have said, hey, what is this new administration going to do? How are they going to view crypto? What kind of things are they going to look at? Well, we've seen a little bit of it by some representatives of Congress who happen to be on that side of the aisle, along with, the new administration. And, they've tried to really, they want to put a bill out there to sort of take stable coins and give them to the banks. And maybe the banks shouldn't. And what they're missing is the whole idea of the blockchain, the promise of blockchain, the whole promise of cryptocurrencies is the decentralization. But when government gets involved, and this isn't one side or the other. This is government. This is government around the world. I don't care what country you're in. Government likes one thing. They like to control stuff. They want to bring it closer. Like, oh, blockchain. We'll release a CBDC. Yeah, it's going to be open, transparent, right? No. It's going to be able to be monitored, and we'll be able to audit it, right? No, of course not, because that's exactly what it's looking at, right? So the next year, the New York Attorney General's office revealed that Bitfinex, Tether's sister company, through shared ownership and executives, lost close to $1 billion after payment processors' bank accounts were frozen and the funds were seized. So there was a lot of stuff that was going on in this whole thing. I'm just curious to see how this puppy's going to pan out. It will be interesting to sort of see. And, you thought about when we look at smart contracts, right? We look at smart contracts, We look at, Ethereum, then we have this new startup, the new kid on the block comes along, Flare. And then I saw this today. This is an interesting story as well. It turns out the smart contracts on Bitcoin, while Bitcoin's the gold standard in crypto, well, store of value, I'd say, Ethereum has been the innovator. Yeah, they were the innovator, but I think the true innovator, of course, we don't have anything substantial to look at yet, but the true innovator, I believe, is going to be Flare. They're bringing new ideas, particularly smart contracts, to the table. Smart contracts allow developers to easily build things on blockchain, and we've seen a proliferation of new things built on the Ethereum blockchain as well. But, what if you could do that on Bitcoin? And I'm like, I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Do you like that? You like the idea? Yeah, listen, I'm big pro Bitcoin, but I'm thinking about, well, what about that? So enter Stacks 2.0. This launched on its mainnet today. USV has been an investor and supporter. That's who wrote this article. And they first got started about 5 years ago. They're large holders of the Stacks token. Stacks makes Bitcoin programmable, enabling decentralized apps and smart contracts that inherit all of Bitcoin's powers. And what power that is, that's called value. Store of value. That's pretty much their value right there. That's exactly what they do. And so he goes on to say that Stacks 2.0 includes the Clarity smart contract programming language, significant improvement on the Solidarity language used for Ethereum smart contracts. So it's interesting, like everybody and their brother and sister are getting in on the entire smart contract game. So we have all kinds of people jumping in. It's like everybody wants to all of a sudden jump into smart contracts. And look, I applaud it. Why? Because it depends on what flavor, chocolate, strawberry, vanilla, whatever it is. There's room for everybody. We're not going to have a market where there's one crypto. It's like, what's the crypto? What are my choices? Bitcoin. What else? Bitcoin. What else? Well, then we had altcoins because they're alternate coins. They're not Bitcoin, right? We're not going to have that. So there's going to be room for anybody else. It just kind of took me a little bit by surprise, just because it's interesting to see, what that might look like. And then this was a fun tweet. I really like this. Sometimes people in the community, they look at something and we might look at the same way, and they all see something we don't see. And that's what I love about this community. A lot of clever researchers, a lot of interesting opinions. You guys come in here, you have a lot of stuff too, to hit us with. We're like, oh, how about that? But check this out. At Thal Rather says, didn't hit me until now, but if you take the symbols for Flare Networks and XRP, you put them next to each other, boom, you have the FX markets. And I never would have thought about that, because I'm not sitting there taking Photoshop and putting the Flare token up against, the Flare logo, which we have right over here, and then we have the XRP. But that's funny, it spells FX, right? Yeah, for the FX markets. And I know, of course, Lionel at Dictator Know-It-All, he says, yeah, good spot, beautiful. And it's funny because sometimes we don't see this stuff. We just don't even notice it. So I want to jump through and see some of the comments in here. Okay, so we have Organic FUD saying, once XRP sold by Ripple, no longer a security. When Ripple sells XRP, it is a sale of an unregistered security. But every transaction after that, XRP becomes a trading instrument. I think there's some truth to this. I've asserted since I saw the SEC v. Ripple, this whole thing kind of bubble up. Kind of been looking at it like, yeah, you know what? I kind of think what's going to come out of this is like, okay, if we go back in time, we could say that Ripple did sell, or maybe some of the executives sold an unregistered security back in the day. Because if you remember, at some point, it took a little bit of time before XRP truly was decentralized, and it had a lot to do with the nodes, right? So the validator nodes, and I think they own less than, I think it's like, I don't even know what the true number is. You guys probably do, jumping in there. But Organic FUD, I think that's a great observation. I think that's what's going to end up coming out of this. Because if you look to the enforcement, there's two enforcement agencies that have come out recently in the UK. They kind of pin XRP as a utility token. And they're kind of looking at it a little bit different too. Not only a utility token, but perhaps a cryptocurrency. So it has multifunctionality. And meanwhile, you have the SEC, boom, they're over here. Nope, it is simply, it has to be a security. But chances are it's not. But if you were looking at what Hester Peirce is talking about, and she probably, if anybody, if you were to promote, why not promote Hester Peirce? Boom, she dissolves the lawsuit, or she comes out with some clarity. The problem with that is that who knows how long it's going to take. We've been waiting 8 to 10 years for some kind of, I mean, of course, it's been 8 years, 8 and change with Ripple, but you know, Bitcoin is going on 11 plus years here. And yeah, of course, you could say, well, 2.5 years ago they came out and Jay Clayton said, you know, Bitcoin and Ethereum's not a security token. Cheers. Fantastic. Good for you. And what about the rest? Hey, Jay, what about the rest of the crypto market? You know, hang on a second. Let me get my pen out. Jay, go ahead. What do you got for the rest of the crypto market? And then he goes on interviews and becomes snarky, right? Super snarky. Doesn't want to, like, you know, participate, you know, in the way we might expect him to say, well, you know, we got a lot of work to do, and here's what we're going to come out with. Now, jumping into something else, John Deaton. If you saw John Deaton, he is a superhero. I call him a superhero because, you know, he could be in the next Marvel movie because he stood up for us. If you're a bag holder of XRP, he said, hey, man, I'm going to work through my holiday because that was filed on December 23rd. He worked through a week straight, and at 2 a.m. on New Year's, he filed this electronically, which is Deaton versus the SEC. He's looking for two major things, but he put out a really awesome Twitter thread today that, and really, I got to tell you guys, John Deaton is coming back on the roundtable. We're super excited to have him this Sunday. We'll have him at 8 p.m. We're going to do another live show, get a lot of your questions answered. But he's going to come back on. We want to pick his brain. Jeff and I want to dig deep. We want to know about a couple things. We want to know, hey, what do you think about Brian Brooks, you know, comptroller of the OCC leaving? What do you think about who they're looking at for replacement? What do you think about Elad Roisman? And all of a sudden they're bringing somebody else in. Two pro-crypto people. Yes, I understand. You know, what do you think about the new SEC commissioner, right? So we're going to dive into some of these things, some legalities, because John is an attorney. And if you guys had a chance to see the last one, we went for an hour and a half, way longer than we kind of apologized to John. He was happy to stay and do it. But I want to jump into his Twitter thread because I think it's fantastic. Let me take myself off the screen. So he dives in, he says, another SEC v. Ripple thread for those who don't see the tragic irony in the recent news of another crypto company becoming a U.S. bank. Let's review an issue I addressed and the memorandum of support I filed against the SEC. The OCC, via Brian Brooks in April 2020, issued notice to banks in the U.S. that they could custody crypto assets. We talked a little bit about this. SEC Chairman Clayton, let me get back on here. I feel like I can't see anybody here. Whoa, hang on. Yeah. SEC Chairman Clayton issued a letter that said the SEC agrees with the OCC. Because remember, the OCC had to get some agreement, or had to get complete agreement from the SEC. They agreed that U.S. banks can now custody cryptocurrencies. XRP, the third largest, with a market cap of crypto asset. Jay Clayton did not state that he agreed with the OCC, with the exception that banks can't custody XRP because they're unregistered security. So this is a very valuable sort of a thing he's talking about here. Now, if they agreed that banks could custody cryptocurrency, what is XRP? Yeah, I hear you guys screaming it at the screen, right? Yeah, it's a cryptocurrency, right? A digital asset that has value, right? It also has utility. And John's making an excellent point here, that when you had Jay Clayton, who agreed as the, you know, overseeing the SEC, with the fact he had to get permission for the OCC to say, yeah, banks can custody crypto. There was no exception clause. Oh, by the way, if you look on page 75 in small 3-point letters, it says XRP, except XRP, right? And this is kind of the point he's making. So he says, it appeared, he says it could be later determined or claimed to be a security. Instead, it appeared that the SEC was in full agreement, appearances, that banks could custody crypto. He certainly didn't say buyer beware. Hey, everybody, buyer beware, that 8 months later on my way out the door, I and the SEC intend to declare the third largest crypto asset by market cap in the world to be an unregistered security. He made no mention of XRP whatsoever, right? But he was all down with the whole thing. You know, he didn't say, well, you know, it's got to be a security, but no, he said, yeah, cryptocurrency. Well, what is he really saying for all coins? There's 5,000 plus. They're all considered cryptocurrencies. They carry a value. They can be basically done in any sort of a look who just popped in. I see Jeff. Jeff looks like the helicopter has landed. They're rushing Jeff in right now. He's in the studio. He's getting makeup done. He's putting on his mic. But one of the things that they actually said here, no mention. Did they come out and say buyer beware? They did not. Did they say, hey, you know, oh, yeah, there he is. Hey Jeff, what's up? Let's check in real quick here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
He's here. Yeah, I've been holding.
Little mix up here. There we go.
Okay, Siri thought I was talking to her. What's up with your mic? Your mic sounds a little weird. I think you're on the local mic.
Maybe. Let me check.
Switch over while we're doing this. I'm gonna jump back into this puppy right here. So he goes on to say that it's 100% reasonable to assume that if the SEC agrees that U.S. banks can custody crypto assets, it would include the third largest crypto asset by market cap. And not only did the U.S. government declare that U.S. banks could custody crypto, a crypto exchange called Kraken was granted a bank charter. What's up, Jeff?
What is going on? Holy cow.
There you go. It was like your mic wasn't working.
No,
I told them the helicopter was late. I didn't know when you were going to get to the studio.
Man, I rushed out, and as I'm rushing out, I was like, get stopped by a whole bunch of people. They're like, oh, question this and that. Man, what a great event, though. It was awesome. Man, the enthusiasm at the event tonight was phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Can't get into it more than that, but let's just say it was really great.
That's awesome, man. So we're just going back to this awesome thread by John Deaton, which I was reminding everybody out there who are fans of On the Chain that he's going to be joining us Sunday night. Super excited to get John back in here, answer questions, find out what he thinks of the new OCC, the comptroller.
Boom, there you go. See that? Now that I'm here, one more hour.
One more hour.
One hour starts now.
And thank you, everybody. I want to say, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. So John's making this amazing point. You know, basically it is, Jeff, he's saying that, you know, at any time when the OCC got permission from the SEC to custody crypto, they never had anything. They never mentioned anything. There was no like fine print on page 75 that said, accept XRP, right? So we find out that Kraken here is granted a license. They like Kraken, right? Oh, Kraken. But it does not stop there. From the state of Wyoming, Kraken's the first crypto exchange to be granted status as a U.S. bank, right? Kraken, as we know, one of the early places you could purchase XRP, and granted a status as a U.S. bank. Kraken sells XRP, and it has really almost since the beginning, right? If you remember early days on Ripple's site, they listed a couple exchanges. Kraken was always like one of the top ones. All of this was known to Jay Clayton, the Lizard King, as some people have called him, not Jeff and I. And the SEC. Not only did Jay Clayton and the SEC agree that U.S. banks could custody crypto without, here we go, I always hate when they say show this thread. Oh my good Lord. Where are we? Yeah, without excluding the third largest crypto, but a crypto exchange that holds and sells XRP was deemed a U.S. bank. Do you see what he's going on about there, Jeff?
I do, yeah. It's great.
Yeah, he's making the great point. And really, it took a little bit of time of thinking about this, but they were deemed a U.S. bank based on the actions of the OCC and the SEC. It's reasonable for all of us to gain more confidence that investing in the largest cryptocurrency on the market was a viable way to speculate and possibly build and secure more wealth. Kraken became a bank 8 months before the SEC claims against XRP. And they knew that Kraken, when it was granted its banking license, Jeff, this is what kills me here, Jeff. They knew, the SEC was fully aware, they get a banking charter, you have an exchange which turns into what?
Into a bank.
Right. And they knew that they were selling XRP and all other cryptocurrencies. But for some reason, this is what kills me. By the way, thank you for that. Who was that? Was that Wade? Thank you, Wade.
There you go.
Wade says smash and like those buttons and join. Yeah, join up.
Meaning that he hit the super chat, that means that everybody has to hit the like button and hit that subscribe button. I think that's important.
It is important because a lot of times you're like, oh, where were those crypto guys? I don't know. They disappeared, right?
Who are those guys?
Nobody knows what happened to them. And possibly, so he says, this is what I love right here. He goes, and now, after the SEC case against Ripple's filed, Anchorage, a custodian of XRP, receives a national banking charter, becoming the first federal digital bank. Jeff, unwind that.
Says your signal is bad again.
That's weird. Well,
Cutting in and out. How about now? Is that okay right now?
Is it both of us or just me?
I don't know.
Anyway, I'm going to go on. So this is what's really weird. So first you have Kraken. They've been selling XRP. Then you've got a custodian, Anchorage, a custodian of XRP, and they are granted a banking license. Banks can custody crypto. XRP is a crypto. So he's making a phenomenal point here, and it's really interesting to see if maybe that might possibly come up. You know, could potentially sort of come up in a court type of process. It's like, okay, well, if for example, why would you grant a banking license to Kraken? They sold XRP for years. Then you've got Anchorage, which is a custodian of XRP. I mean, amongst other things. And they get a national banking charter, becoming the first federal digital bank, Jeff.
I like that. I like the fact that, we're both, the whole stream is breaking up. It's breaking up. Breaking up. Both is breaking up. What's going on here?
Let's go back down to 9. Let's go back down to. Let's go to load. Let's go to.
Out. Hey, do you ever notice? You know how you at the top of our screen it shows you how many viewers are in?
Yeah.
Have you ever hovered over that number? It actually tells you a breakdown of how many people are streaming on every one of the different platforms or viewing on each platform. That's pretty cool.
Interesting, yeah. On the chain live. That is pretty cool, man.
I'm just trying to pull up on YouTube, but keep talking. I'll see.
So he says, so he's like, so there's all caps is like him yelling. I'm not gonna yell, but he's like, is anybody paying attention? The whole stream is like gone hell. So it might be a good time to get out of here, Jeff, if the stream is garbage.
No, people are still. It was doing it before I got here. He said. So, but maybe it's in and out. I'm trying to pull it up on YouTube here, but yeah, maybe maybe it's. Let's see here. See if I can find it. Here we go. We're streaming. Oh, and then there's an ad.
There's an ad, and then this happens.
And it looks like it's working on my end.
And Tina Hall jumps in. Tina Hall's, hey, it sounded fine until Jeff showed up. See, I knew it, Tina.
It was me.
I wasn't going to blame it on Jeff. I really wasn't going to blame it on him, man. But no, it's thank you, Tina.
Perfect. Really you guys are good, not breaking up, Crypto Eddie. So it's perfect. Keep going.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so what I wanted to get back to here is the whole point that John Deaton's making here is that it's kind of unusual for the fact, and again, John's going to be on the show on Sunday night, which will be a lot of fun. But, you know, the whole idea of the OCC, you know, there's like a couple different breakdowns of this, but you got the OCC, which says, hey, SEC, what do you think about, you think it's okay for banks to custody crypto? And then Jay Clayton shows up with his cigar. He's like, yeah, man, I think we can do that. And he has all this snarky stuff. And then he says, yeah, we might be able to do that. So that's the first part of it. Then you get Kraken. Now remember, Kraken, one of the earliest places you could buy on an exchange, they become a bank. And guess what? They've sold XRP. Apparently SEC, nobody has any concerns about that. That's cool. Then we have a custodian, Anchorage, which was just the first digital bank. And, you know, I could see some of this stuff coming up, Jeff. I don't know what your thoughts on this are. Do you have any thoughts on this at all?
Oh, I'm just reading the chat here. Everybody says
he has no thoughts on it then.
Everybody's good in different parts of the world. So
yeah, some place it's working. Thanks a lot. Annalise says it's working good in Australia. So that's all we need.
That's all.
We have all our fans down there. Crypto Eddie's down there too. So one of the things, so I was gonna say, so one of the things, he's making a really good point here. Okay, so first off, you are like, yeah, that's cool. We'll grant a banking license to an exchange which sells XRP. Next up, we'll go ahead and grant a banking license to a custodian who happens to custody XRP. So they're like, and does anybody ever? And that was like that Kraken one. I think was 8 months before that complaint came out, which I find to be a little bit on the weird, wonky side.
Yeah. I mean, you know, overall, you know, when we've gone into this so many times, but there's there's too many inconsistencies in the space. I mean, overall, and I think the inconsistencies are due to the fact that there's no clarity, there's no regulatory clarity, and this is where the government dropped the ball on it. They're too late to the game. I mean, we all said, hey, if you take your time, figure things out, but now they're trying to figure things out, but they don't even know what they're trying to figure out. You have a couple people like like Brian Brooks. Oh, by the way, he resigned today. Stepped down today. You have people like
But Jeff, hang on a second. Jeff, he promised clarity.
He did promise clarity.
6 to 8 weeks. Do you remember that?
But he left with no clarity.
Zero clarity. So we got
Zero
two.
clarity.
We're 0 for 2 right now, Jeff. It's not looking good. Go ahead, continue on.
Exactly.
I just wanted to.
No, I'm trying to see. The door just opened. There's nobody on the
Door
other
open,
side.
and slowly somebody enters into it. But hey, on a good note, this whole idea, this FinCEN came out. Remember they dropped this new potential crypto wallet rule where every $3,000 it was moved basically from anywhere to a private, like a ledger, right, in a cold storage wallet. And boy, did they hear it. So they dropped it right before the holidays, and they put 2 weeks. Now normally it's a 90 days, so FinCEN had to extend it because they heard, there's Mnuchin, and they heard from pretty much anyone. So it was first submitted on the 18th. Required exchanges to store names and addresses and information transferring over 3,000. So critics of the rule said it'd be technically impossible for some projects to comply because smart contracts and Author decentralized tools do not have a name or address information to provide. Right. So Jeff, this looks to me more and more like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, and the left hand doesn't understand crypto. Neither does the right hand. A bunch of dummies. Like, they're just focused on the money part of it, but they don't understand the technology part.
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it, and as they're trying to kind of navigate the space, a lot of misunderstandings. I'm seeing a lot of comments here about Anchorage, not having XRP. PayPal didn't have XRP. What did these guys know going into it that they decided not to add XRP at that time, but yet they're adding the other digital assets? Why is it that we're seeing more commentary out of Japan that XRP is not a security? Why are we getting more commentary out of the UK that XRP is not a security, but yet in the US there's still this uncertainty? But we have to let this case unfold, and it's going to be great when we have Deaton on Sunday, because I know he's digging in, a lot more. And from a legal perspective, when we start seeing, some of the comments, and even looking at it from at the perspective, some of these people that are coming in, leaving, what does it all really mean? And it's and is the New York, is the Attorney General of New York going to have some sort of an impact? Are they doing anything? As I made a video, or yesterday we were talking about. I think I made a video about it yesterday. I did make a video about it yesterday, talking about the Martin Act
on the other channel,
on
right?
The other channel. Oh yeah, that's right. It was on the other channel. And it talked about the Martin Act and how much authority or power the Attorney General of New York actually has to investigate securities, which I was a little shocked about. We need to wrench some of that power out of their hands because I don't think they truly understand, what they're dealing with. They try to just compare everything, to identifying a security, and this is a technology that it doesn't meet all of the criteria. You really have to dig into it. They looked at Kick, the SEC looked at Kick. This is why we need more regulatory clarity. Japan's doing it, the UK's doing it, the US isn't doing it.
Yeah, and earlier I played a little blip from Hester Peirce, like really spinning. The interviewer comes down hard on her, like, "Hey, SEC is the gold standard. What have you been doing around crypto lately?" And she's like, "Well, it's really important, and everyone wants to work in the U.S." And I kind of felt a little bad for her because I've been in scenarios like that. But the bottom line is I think we'd be okay if it was a year later, 2 years later. But like you said, Jeff, if you want to know what's happening in Japan, and you want to know what's happening in the UK, let's just face it, they're smarter. They got their together. They have it together. Look, they've got some smart people that understand this. By the way, we got just a bunch of lunatics running around. They on both sides. They don't know what's going on. They're fighting for, I don't even know what they're doing. I mean,
They're still trying to figure out what Facebook is, and pretty
true.
soon, there won't be a Facebook or a Twitter. as they're starting to implode on themselves, but they're going to be like, oh, wait a minute. What is this other thing called Telegram? What are we doing?
Yeah, well,
And they're clueless. What is Bitcoin again? Is it, I mean, they're so clueless when it comes to technology, but I'm not saying that, in the UK, they know what's going on, but they had the foresight to create a little regulatory clarity. They see that it's a new asset class. There's nothing to do with XRP. It's that they saw that there's a new asset class, and they, are trying to put something together. I don't know what DIC is doing here. He was okay for a little while. Now he's getting crazy over here.
We need a mod to take care of the. He's getting a little crazy there.
He's normally pretty good.
So Channing says, who's listening in would like to hear a live breakdown of Flare, D Flare, Y Flare? Yeah, us.
I do. Channing, we need to get you back on.
Channing, you're going to come back on. We're actually going to talk about that, man.
Yeah, we got to get you on because that's definitely coming to the forefront. We need to schedule a day next week to get you back on. Yeah, so let's make a plan for that.
I'll bring you back on. We want to talk about that because that's bubbling up, and man, it's going to be just what I feel like it's going to be monstrous, really.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's going to be awesome. Yeah. Hey, I wanted to. Whoops, I'm clicking stuff here. I wanted to, and I don't know if these guys are going to be listening, if they're in the stream right now. But there was someone named Zigzag Crypto, and then there was a little bit of comment going on. And then somebody called Plus Degree 78 wanted to know what I was talking about. I don't have to get into all of his comments, but my question to him was, have you ever heard of MAD, capital M, capital A, capital D? And I said, if you don't know what that is, go look it up and report back on the comments. I don't see his comments here. No. And then Plus Degree said, MAD, ? So I'm going to let you know what it is, mutual assured destruction. So now that I've let you know, now go look up what that means, and then you can figure out based on our conversation what I was referring to. So I just wanted to put that in there. And exactly when I was bringing up something that had something to do with some geopolitics, DNI. What is up, DNI? And he's making a video about Flare. How cool is that?
Check out his video on Flare.
Awesome.
All right, so Joni brings up something good, and I think this is good for us all to really kind of look at. Seriously, it's likely to get crazy, but I all think we have to take deep breaths. And HODL, right? That's Jeff, what you know something about. This Tether thing is going to mess things up for a while. Potentially, it could, but it's what it does? It gives the old black eye, and everyone's like, I told you that cryptocurrency was evil, and I told you it was bad, and all of a sudden, you start hearing from people you never heard from before, and they're like, you're into that whole Bitcoin thing, It's like, no, it's not really that. But yeah, Moto Yoda.
Cooks in the kitchen.
Methinks is correct. Razor Vet says, I'm shocked that XRP's at 0.30 even after 3 weeks of FUD, delisting, SEC, institutional FUD. What's going to happen? Not to mention, don't forget, Grayscale, this is basically dissolving the XRP trust. What's going to happen when this is all over and you can't
Sorry.
Sorry. Can't buy in the U.S. You can't. I'm right in the middle of reading it, Jeff. You can't buy in the U.S. Well, it depends. We'll have to see. But I don't think. Listen, we know that Uphold has said until it's deemed a security, you'll be able to buy it and sell it. Or if it doesn't turn into be a feasible business model as a trading asset, then they'll get rid of it as well. But don't worry. Go ahead, Jeff. Throw something up there.
No, that was it. No, I didn't mean to click it right away. I was just clicking. Said mutual assured destruction. Yeah, it's something to do with the commentary. I don't know. Someone just commented on it on one of the videos, so I just thought I would put it out there.
Organic Flood says, hey, why hasn't the SEC given clarity to exchanges that deal in XRP? Well, that is the $10 billion question. Why haven't they come out and clarify if exchanges and other financial institutions can trade XRP? You know what? That's like what we should be screaming from the rooftops. What have they been doing, Jeff? My God, it's incredible. What have they been? They've been. I don't know what they're up to. I'll be honest.
Yeah. I don't know. They're crazy.
No, thank you, Dean. I really appreciate it, man. It's really great hanging out with the crew and.
Hey, yeah. When DNI, when are you streaming?
When are you streaming, man?
I woke up the other morning. It was like 6 a.m. and you were streaming. Man, he had a 4-hour stream over the weekend. It was crazy, and I listened to it when I was walking the dog, and I came back, and then I worked out, and then I had it playing in the background, And I was doing all these things, and I looked down. I'm like, holy cow! 4 hours later, and I'm still listening to DNI in the background, commenting. Yep.
So Annalise says, "Hey, XRP has great fundamentals. It will be hard to ignore it." I almost think I'm gonna sort of append that statement. I think it's gonna be impossible to ignore it. But you know what, Annalise, that's a great observation. I like that little fish, Jeff. Check it out. Hey, Chip, how much water do you drink? A lot. I mean, I only have one, but you know when you're sitting there talking all the time, I get thirsty. Jeff drinks a lot of water too. We also have a lot of coffee, which is earlier in the day for us because I know it's morning there over in the for the Aussies.
So at my event, I had one Jameson,
nice,
and then I had one espresso. So,
boy, that's a good combination. You'll be like nice and going all night. Yeah, so a little bit of water. I do drink a lot of water in a day, no doubt.
Yeah, I walked out of there and I'm like, wait a minute, I just paid like $39. I was like, what did I get? I was like, wait a minute, I had one Jameson and I didn't have any food and I ate and I ordered cannolis. So I got cannolis, a Jameson, and espresso.
Wait, an espresso with a cannoli? Man,
it's the best. It was like $39. I'm like,
Jeff, you know the other thing was ask the chat if I was on topic pretty much the whole entire time, and then you come in here and
the whole time.
Go ahead and ask them. People who've been here, yeah.
Even on topic?
I ask them because there are two competing financial systems literally at cyber war. The old system like IBM backed Stellar Lumens model, etc., trying to hold, control, and power versus the new system XRP, Zilliqa, etc. Yeah, I think so, but I quite honestly think Stellar Lumens, you know, I mean, it's like the brother, the sister, the cousin, whatever. It's you know, it's very similar. But I get where you're going with that. You know, when you have like, you know, IBM out of any big companies filed more patents in the crypto space. It's just shocking. But the point you're making is you got the old guard versus the new guard. You got the old tech versus the new tech, and there is somewhat of a war going on, Seth. So you know, it is sort of starting to bubble up. Jeff, did our 1 hour reset yet?
It's it's reset. So.
Here we go. So Ryan Lewis says, you know, it's easy to analyze the ins and outs. I take a step back. I see the big picture. Where are we in 20 years and where do we need XRP to be valuable? Yes. Yeah, you know, and sometimes you got to get a big picture view stuff because, we live on a day-to-day like us, you're sitting in here and you're like, you know, what's going on in crypto? And you're like, you know, you're waking up at 3 a.m. and you're looking at your phone. And you're like, oh my God, you're all sweaty and like, what happened to the market? You know, that's not what everybody. We're like a half of a percent of people that know about it. I mean, imagine when we get 1% of the entire global population, 3%, 5%. That's when it goes sky high, right? That's when it blows. And of course, if you want to see what the indicator is going to be for a giant bull run, hearing that XRP is not a security. That could be a tipping point.
I agree. I think that's definitely going to have a major impact on the whole community. Because, you know, if you're, you know, here you have one of the top 5 now, digital assets, and there's a ruling on it, and it rules as a non-security. Even if it rules as a security, what you're going to see is that the space is going to go parabolic, in my opinion, only because people are going to be like, that one isn't. All right, what else is, you know, or isn't, whatever, you know. But if it's deemed not a security, I think it's going to have such a major impact on the market as a whole. You know, I mean, people, you know, right now being that it's in this speculative phase, people are going to emotionally, you know, react to it. And it's an overall positive. We keep hearing more and more commentary on Bitcoin, and that's driving the space up and up and up. Big time. Know, so, you know, it's great. What is, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to remove that. But I just wanted 30 more minutes. Oh, I just had to put that there. 30 more. Hey guys,
minutes. So I feel this is horrible news. I mean, Shane Alexander. I know I have a couple friends in New York as well. By the way, I got out. Okay, I grew up there. I said I'm out of here. I started plotting when I was 14 because I went to Disney World and I'm like, I'm out of here. I got to figure out a way to get out. I was 14. It didn't make a lot of sense when you're 14, but it worked. So guys, I'm from New York. Can't get Uphold or Kraken here. Or Coinbase, which has gone south. I am screwed living here, hodling a ton of XRP. Yeah, now if you have a cold storage wallet, I understand that. Look, you're not in a great position necessarily, and I understand there's like panic mode, like what do I do? And unfortunately, New York's been very tough on crypto. I'm not a, I can say this because I grew up there. I'm not a big fan of New York. I'm not a big fan of how they crush a lot of stuff over there. I'm not a fan of what's happening in New York City right now, just because, look, I care about people. And when you care about people holding a bag of XRP and they're being crushed, I mean, so your basically choice has been eliminated from you. But look, things always sort of get better, right? There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. You got to find out what's best for you, and you got to figure out what might, obviously, you don't want to break any laws. So if you're going to hodl for a while, you're going to hodl for a while. Now, the biggest reason that the XRP trust was dissolved was because of the problem with getting it from XRP to fiat, which is USD. That was their big concern, and because of that, that's why they liquidated. They didn't liquidate it necessarily. I mean, it's attached to the fact that the whole SEC versus Ripple thing, but it's not a direct cause of it. In other words, they didn't come out and say, "Oh, it's a security. We're freaking out. We're going to dissolve, the XRP, trust." That's not what happened. Their concern was not being able to take investors' money, take it out of XRP into USD.
Yep. Hey, so I'm thinking on Sunday night when we have Deaton on, one of the questions that I want to ask him, and I think it's relevant to what Shane is talking about, in this interim period of time, yes, as you're a resident of New York, they make it very difficult for you to buy and sell. But what happens if you do use a VPN? What if you go to an external exchange outside of the country, which you can do. You can use an exchange outside the country as long as they let you trade. It's just but what are the potential legal ramifications? I don't even know what that would be.
Well,
I think it's important to talk to them about it, just to confirm, and that gives you options, because one of the things that the IRS says is if you hold money in, of more than $10,000 in a foreign account, you have to report it. They made the same statement when it came to digital asset. There's a specific form that you have to file that if you have monetary value in digital asset on a foreign exchange of more than 10,000, you have to report it. So that means that if you're trading on a foreign exchange, then, if they have XRP, why couldn't you move your XRP over there and sell it? If they have already acknowledged that you could, that you're using a foreign exchange. They're not saying in this scenario, they're not saying that the XRP is illegal. XRP hasn't even been deemed a security or not security. They're just saying that you can't have an exchange in New York, let's say, that's trading. I mean, I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I think it would be important to talk to John about that on Sunday and get his feedback from an attorney's perspective.
Yeah, that's he's up that way anyway. There's another good comment that I wanted to get to. Mark Oliver says, "What's your opinion on Brad, Chris, and Ripple tackling this SEC lawsuit with 21 lawyers? Reasons why going the distance?" Yeah, I think that's part of it. But look, I mean, it sounds like a lot of attorneys, but you have to remember the firm that they hired. It's a little bit on the side of. Let me find out exactly. I'll tell you exactly how the breakdown is. So the difference is there are 4 lawyers because Chris Larson was named separately. He's going to have his own attorneys representing him. Then you got Brad Garlinghouse has his own attorneys representing him, and then you have Ripple. So there are 4 attorneys that are representing Brad Garlinghouse, and then you have 4 representing Chris Larson, and then the rest of the 13 are really Ripple. So that's one of the reasons for the breakdown, because you need individual representation if you are named individually in some kind of a complaint. They can't say, "Oh, we're just going to use the Ripple attorneys." They can't do that. So that's why they each have their own individual representation, and then obviously 13 for the company, not so big. That's how they got the 21. Any thoughts on that, Jeff?
No, I mean, I don't know if I can comment on how many attorneys somebody needs to defend themselves. I mean,
21 gun salute.
You're talking about going defending against the SEC, and so it probably requires, you can't have one attorney that's going to sit there and fight it. You're talking about a major, billion-dollar corporation that is, there's a lot of things that they have to concern themselves with. It's not just, hey, this is great, let's fight it. It's, hey, by the way, we're also taking on Swift, and there's a lot of other variables at stake here. Them personally for the accusation, but then Ripple as the company, I think there's a lot of different angles. I mean, I don't know how many attorneys it takes. You know, if they can afford it, they let them have 50 attorneys. I don't know if it's if it's really a discussable point. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if it is.
Let's ask John that. Say, hey, John, what do you think? Is that extreme that they have 21 attorneys?
So this is Home Church Panama. I think this is Joni's
question.
hobby, if I'm not mistaken. It says, call XRP a kitty if you want a rainbow. It works. It works. And he tags Joni in there. He says, I've witnessed it. Works better than Bitcoin or Ethereum, period. It sure as hell does. That's a perfect observation. Call it whatever you want if you want a rainbow. It doesn't matter. But, you know, it is a cryptocurrency. It does have a digital token. It is a value. What are you laughing at, Jeff?
I don't know. A rainbow. Kitty rainbow.
A kitty, call it a kitty rainbow. Nobody cares, you know? Yeah, it's a legal issue, so we need their point of view. So check out Legal Brief. Yeah, we invited him on the show.
Bottom line, it's all about taxes. Mama Lacey.
Mama Lacey nailed it. Forget
about
everything else.
Mama Lacey has also been on almost from the beginning of time from this channel. Yeah, right. When this channel was in its infancy, Mama Lacey was one of the originals following and commenting on this channel. That's awesome.
Yeah, here's the other thing too is DNI is saying that each lawyer has their own specialty, including who the lead firm will quarterback the case. Yeah, and we kind of went into it a little bit on the firm, what their expertise was. But you're right, everybody specializes in a different part of the law. You know, so that's why they have a team of people. And also, too, they're gonna get together. They're gonna have a strategy going in, and you can bet they knew this was coming. So they've been working on this since a month before it was filed. They had advance notice it was coming. But again, you know, everyone's like, well, why didn't they settle? Well, it doesn't mean they couldn't still settle. But the bottom line is that from what I'm getting from Brad Garlinghouse, if they weren't going to get clarity, why would they have settled? You know, why get a slap on the wrist for something? If you don't come out of that saying XRP is not a security, what would be the point? Because they tried. Garlinghouse came out and said, believe me, we tried to settle. And unfortunately, they're having none of it. But I'm wondering if that same sentiment, Jeff, would have held now. Do we know the enforcer left? You know, the guy that was largely behind. He also is leaving the SEC. Plus, you had Jay Clayton. Plus, you had other directors. Plus, you had the chief economist. Almost like a whole new crew comes in. And the old crew was like hated crypto. The new crew, you have Hester Peirce that likes crypto. So
I'd like to see how that unfolds. I guess we don't have to wait that long. So.
Well, you never know. What are the odds of a lawsuit getting dropped? I don't necessarily think it's going to get dropped, but you never know.
Probably.
Yeah, more likely a settlement. You know, it would set a bad precedent too if the new guy comes in, he's like, forget it, stop the press, we're done, we're going to drop it. I don't think that's probably going to happen, but
I think XRP Welder is really on the point. You know that the lawsuit is a big distraction. You know, I don't know if it's 100% a big. I think it's developing definitely into a big distraction. It's part of the overall objective of what's going on. Delay, however you want to look at it, putting them on the spot. He said there's so much more at play on a global level. 100% looking at the big picture. And again, you know, we talked about this before, but a company like this can't just all of a sudden, you know, take on an entity like Swift and get away with it scot-free without any obstacle. You know, the entity that is Swift is going to go down with a fight. They're not going down without a fight. And they've already acknowledged that from a technology perspective, they can't stand up. So their time is really limited. It's just a matter of, hey, you flick that switch, you know, you get some regulatory clarity, and the banks all of a sudden, you know, they're starting, you know, everything's being put into place with the OCC and, you know, the SEC, all these different, you know, quote unquote regulations or some normalcy or some clarity. Things are clicking into place. Brian Brooks clicked a lot of things into place as it pertains to the banks and crypto. So now it's just a matter of time, and Swift knows the writing's on the wall. If they can't develop a technology that's equivalent to a RippleNet, even just on the messaging side of it, they're going to lose a majority of their customer base. And then from there, if ODL is allowed to actually take place, which we're starting to see that conversation over in Japan. You're starting to see things happen over there. That it's just a matter of time again before it comes back home, and it's going to haunt Swift. So this has a lot to do, like XRP Plumber, he's saying there's a lot more at stake. There's a lot more happening. It's not just about regulatory clarity in the US, which is another reason I believe these guys are going to come and go. I don't think that they're going to be able to stand and be there long enough. They're probably going to rotate through a couple others. I don't know. That's my opinion, because you're taking on Swift. That's a massive undertaking.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things probably behind that that's too long to get into, but Annalise Kryptonian says, once XRP is declared a security or a utility, will blow up, or not a security, will blow up. We just need clarity, in my opinion. And I agree with that. And nobody really wants to touch it right now. DNI says, wasn't part of the settlement that Brad and Chris had to give back all of their compensation from their XRP sales? So if they settled, they'd be wiped out, just for starters. I don't know if that was ever public, DNI. I really don't know if that was public or not. I know that they really talked about it. I think it might be speculation. I haven't seen anything, and I'm not so sure it would be a good way to roll to say, hey, by the way, we tried to settle and this is what happened. I think a lot of that's speculation. Unless I've seen something out there that you could point to, a source, I don't know why they would ever disclose that. I know that Garlinghouse came out publicly and said, believe me, we tried to settle. We wanted to settle. But whether that's true or not. But anyway, Jeff, I wanted to get to this other portion here because when it comes to XRP, I'm going to let you know this. I can't be 100% sure, but I think it's magic. Guys, subscribe, smash those thumbs up, click that notification bell. And for heaven's sakes, your first time here, we have another channel. It's down there in the description. Click on that. And we are now podcasting. Every show, including this one, is going up to the podcast. So it doesn't matter what you like to listen to it on. I don't care what your preferential thing is. Let me pull it up here, Jeff. It doesn't matter. Like some people like personally me, I'm a Spotify guy, but you might like Apple Podcasts. You might Google Podcasts. It doesn't really matter what you like. But I will drop this in the chat right here. And you guys can click on this right there. I'm going to put this on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick here.
Let's see.
That's the wrong screen. There we go.
See it. You don't have anything pulled up. There we
go. Boom, there it is. So right there, if you guys come here, you can listen right here on this page, pod.co /the-chain, right? Click the subscribe button right here, and you can just pick your favorite one. If you like Apple Podcasts, maybe you have a couple. Maybe you want to subscribe there and Spotify. Or you want to go to, where's Google on here? Google Podcasts, there it is. But that's what you can do. So you come to the screen always. It's very simple, pod.co /on-the-chain. So there you have it. And also, guys, we got something really exciting. Jeff, why don't you let them know exactly what we have coming up?
Podcast is interoperable. So check this out. What is it? January 31st. We're going to be doing the first virtual blockchain meetup, which is awesome. So it's virtual. It's a meetup. It's about blockchain. January 31st, 10 a.m. This weekend, we're going to be getting the whole ticket, quote unquote, registration down because we're kind of space limited, zero cost to it. So it's going to be no cost to anybody.
Zero cost to you. Zero cost to you.
We're paying for the paying for the software and everything. So sponsored by On the Chain. It's going to be awesome. It's going to give everybody an opportunity to mingle, to talk. You can share your camera, not share your camera. You'll be in small groups, so don't worry about being there with 50 or 100 other people. You'll be able to move around within the groups, and each group will be around 6 to 8 people. So it'll be awesome. And then we have special guests there. We have Crypto Eddie's going to be there with us, so she'll speak for a little bit. We have some representatives from BitTrue that are going to be there, and we're working on potentially a few other guests. But really, it's not about the guest speakers. It's really about the meetup aspect of this. This is going to be the first one. We hope to do these maybe monthly, maybe quarterly. We'll see how this first one rolls out. But we are also working on something a little bit longer project, which is going to be a full conference. Won't talk a lot about that one, but the virtual meetup. So make sure you guys check that out when we get the registration out.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. And one of the things, the reason we wanted to do it, I mean, Joni dropped a really good comment yesterday. Look, the more time we spend as a community coming together, these are weird times, right? There's a lot of stuff going on, and this is a chance for us to come together. Our other channel is where, I'll bloviate for 10, 15 minutes. Jeff will say he's going to put a 10-minute video up, and he puts a 20-minute video, which will happen sometimes.
It was a 10-minute video somewhere.
Yeah, at some point there is, and I actually put up a 4-minute video sometimes, which is really hard for me to do because I can drone on. So the point of it is we wanted to bring everyone together in a kind of way, informal way to kind of meet. Look, you don't have to turn your camera on. I think it's going to be more fun if we do. We are not recording this. It's not going to appear anywhere. This is a closed session. If you're in there, you're going to be, it's not like we're going to record this and play it back. That's not what this is. This is a chance for us to get together. Look, there's weird times. 2020 was a weird year, and this is a way to bring community together. So we try to have it early in the morning in the States, so a lot of our friends from, outside the U.S. could join in. And we understand we couldn't have one time that worked for everybody, but we try to do the best we could with setting up a good time. So we understand some of you, it might be later.
So check it out. So we are streaming, what is it, like 6 days a week, almost 7 days a week, but it's 6 days a week. So the next live stream will be Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do the HODL review, and then we start up again Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to have John Deaton on with us. So check that out. He's the attorney that is suing the SEC on behalf of the XRP community. So check that out. That's going to be another great topic. We had him on before, and we maxed out there. We had 1,650 people on the live stream all at the same time when we had him on. So that was awesome. This is going to be a really, really important conversation. And we want to keep following his case. We want to get some more questions on what's going on with this case, and, talk to him a little bit about, the legal framework of what's happening when all these people are leaving the administration, their positions. So we'll get into that on Sunday.
Yep. That's all I have to say, guys. Thank you as always. Thank you for coming in here. Thank you for your support of On the Chain. And again, if you want to figure out how you could support us, share it. Retweet our tweets, get more people in here, get more of the community, tell more of the community. They're out there. So that's all I have. Jeff, Chip, we're out of here, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.
Go.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.